let's go to the National Hockey League. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is a man who has been with ESPN since 1993. A pillar, not only of ESPN, but of hockey, of football, of daily sports life. Friend of the program, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Levy. Sorry, Steve.
What's up, fellas?
We got caught up in the NBA conversation. 1977, the last American White was drafted number 1 overall, potentially coming to the association again. Let's pivot away from that. Too much NBA talk. Let's talk about the NHL right now. How do you feel about the playoffs? What's the big storyline? And who do you think we should be talking about more, you think, Steve?
Well, first of all, Dallas Stars. And I'm in Dallas right now. I'm going to do Game 4 tomorrow night. Really excited about that. Ryan Callahan's on his way here, the former Ranger captain of broadcast on ESPN. But the Stars are the story, guys, for me. They have one player who is taking over the Stanley Cup playoffs. And if you don't know, you better recognize. Mikko Rantanen's been the guy. I mean, how many superstars in any league get traded twice in the same season? I mean, that just doesn't happen. And here he is, and he's lighting the playoffs on fire. I copied down a couple notes because I want to get this right. So, fellas, he scored or assisted on 13 consecutive Dallas Stars goals in these playoffs.
That's
That's mind-boggling. I think the Mario had the record, and that was like 9.
Dog.
And so he's blowing it away. He's doing hat tricks in periods in consecutive games. So he's the story for me.
Texas hockey, obviously alive and well. He had back-to-back hat tricks, obviously. That was an insane run for Mikko. And if, those green tarps making a run in the NHL would be a beautiful thing, not only for the league, but also for Gumpy in the back. We don't have a lot of time because we've wasted your time, Steve, so let's bounce around the playoffs here. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Steve, when you look at the series odd for teams to win the series, I mean, there's 3 teams that are up 2-1, but by far the biggest odds is Carolina minus 650 to beat the Caps. Why is Carolina, and it's been before the series started, even before the playoffs, why is Carolina such big favorites over the Capitals who, technically points-wise had the better regular season?
I don't get it. I don't get it either. I'm with you. It's a total lack of respect for the Capitals, who had a brilliant regular season. Now, of course, Carolina's winning. Carolina has question marks in goal always. And by the way, they had Mikko Rantanen, and they're the team that moved him last because they didn't think they could re-sign him long term. So, I mean, think about that for a second. Carolina has the most, I want to be careful how I say this, reliable yet unreliable goaltender in these playoffs, and that's Frederik Andersen. If he plays, if he's healthy, he's great. But there always seems to be a bump in the road for whatever reason. He gets banged up or can't go. And I can't explain it, but when he's good, when he's in there, he's unbelievable. And he playoff shutouts all the time, and he shut down Washington now and Alex Ovechkin. They can't get anything going. 5-on-5 power play. So Carolina's amazing. Their story, their style, guys, is so different from everybody else. They just shoot the puck from everywhere. They are a volume shooting team in the NHL, and they forecheck like crazy. And they have one of the few. Really strong home ice advantages, and that's it. But Washington's getting no respect. The numbers tonight are insane on the game. And with Carolina, if they have Andersen in there and they've got Andrei Svechnikov going, and they're trying to figure out who they're going to play with Ovi and Dylan Strome, and so that's where they are right now. But Carolina's, I don't get it either, quite frankly.
You talk about the home ice advantage. That's 20,000 raging Caniacs down there in Raleigh, brother. Who was jerking the thing off the other day?
Steve Smith.
Yeah, Steve
that's
Smith.
right.
He was jerking that.
Oh, that, yeah. I wasn't sure where you were going there. Yeah.
Sound on the side.
We don't know.
Had to tell him to stop. He wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop.
Cranking it off. Cranking it. That's all. That place is electrifying. Obviously, hockey in the playoffs is must-watch. So are the atmospheres. Obviously, we saw up there in Winnipeg for that overtime game. The Edmonton people, obviously, bananas. Let's go down to Florida, shall we? D-Butt, diehard Panther fan, has a question for you.
Yeah, you talk about reliable goaltending. Bob, another shutout in the playoffs now. Only guy with multiple shutouts in the playoffs. He back to form, and Panthers kind of back in control of the series after holding down home ice. And then one more part of that question with Max Domi, that dirty hit on Barkley. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, though. His dad was a scumbag too. Any suspension coming
Tough
from him?
guy, not scumbag.
Yeah, sure.
Tony Domi?
He's been fined, so I don't think they let that go on in the playoffs. He's been fined. I would not anticipate any suspension for that play, although player safety could always look at that. So Bob has not been great the whole series. I know he was great in the last game, but he was kind of up and down in the first couple games of the series. To me, the two things to watch for in Toronto, Florida, I was not concerned about the Panthers at all, even though they lost the first two games. Never concerned about Florida. I am concerned with Matthew Tkachuk. He's not 100%. Like, he's out there, he's gutting it out, he's giving his best. He does not look like he's at 100%. And, he's not skating to the puck like he normally does. He's still agitating. He's still on a power play, still on in your face. So he's doing everything he can, but physically there's no way Matthew Tkachuk is close to 100%. And the other thing is, I'm sort of waiting for Austin Matthews, this greatest American-born goal scorer, to take over a game, let alone the series, and we're just not seeing, that from him. Now some of that is on what Florida's doing, right? They're really sound, all three zones defensively, checking them to death when they can get the matchups. But those are two of the things I'm looking for in that series. That smells like 7 games. And, Pat, you mentioned the home ice. For the first time in a long time, home ice matters again in hockey. It really was 500 the last couple of years. I just checked with our NHL research expert, Vince Massey. It's the first time in 20 years. Let's say this home teams so far this postseason are 40-20. Okay? That's a big, big number. The only time it's been higher is one time in the last 20 years. So it's gone from not mattering home ice to mattering a lot. I really don't have an answer. The buildings are all the same, now, could be better. But it matters now, and it's a big part of the game.
What is that, 75% now? 40-20?
66.
66.666666666.
Give or take, yeah.
67%. That's a 17% boost over 50-50. That's because the home ice is a real deal, especially down there in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Especially down there in Florida. Hockey town down there.
Hockey town.
Hockey beach down there they got going on. Toronto potentially running away with that series. Boy, there was a lot of Maple Leafs fans flying high. I think Biz was having a full day.
We had his face on the drum before the game.
I saw that you guys hammering Biz's face. His snaw's getting pounded down there. Marchand coming alive down there. He's earned his tail for the Panthers.
Happy birthday.
Who?
Marshy.
Happy birthday, Marshy.
Birthday.
It's an honor to have you.
The rat. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question here about the hockey, Steve. We appreciate you. Go ahead, Con, man.
Yeah, Steve, you mentioned Rantanen in the Stars series, but what about Hellebuyck? He's kind of fallen off completely. I believe he's an MVP candidate for this year, and all of a sudden he basically looks like me between the pipes. So what has kind of happened, and do you think there's still time for him to get going? Because this series isn't really over by any means, especially if you have a goalie that can get hot.
No, he only looks like you in goal on the road. Okay, he looks like the MVP at home, and that's one of the weird home road splits. So Hellebuyck hasn't won a single home game, and he's been pulled in 3 of the 4 road games. I think he's played, yanked, and he's given up 5 goals in every single one of those games. So it's a weird thing. Something cool that's going on here, sort of subplot, if you will. So Jake Ottinger's down at the other end, right? They're both American-born goalies. And maybe this series decides who starts for Team USA in the Olympics next year. That's got to be in the back of their two minds. Hellebuyck is not only up for the Vezina, right, which is a goalie award. He is up for the Hart, which is regular season MVP, which goalies never win. And they're chanting in the building in Dallas that Otter's better, and that goes way back to like the 90s, late 90s, when it was the Stars and the Avs. And they were chanting Eddie's better when Eddie Belfour was battling against Patrick Roy. So that's some of the cool stuff, the history is going on here. But the Olympic thing, I think, is an interesting angle. Maybe that's in the back of their minds. Ottinger's been better. Hellebuyck's been good, but really at home. And again, if this thing goes 7, you see where that's headed. Advantage Winnipeg. So that'll be something to watch. Dallas will want to wrap this up with Pete DeBoer, 9-0 in Game 7s, insane number as a head coach. They don't want to go to Game 7 here.
Absolutely not. Hockey's awesome, as are you. We appreciate the hell out of you for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Steve Levy.
Yeah, Steve.
Steve's a legend, man.